Welcome to Ken's Corner Podcast, Season 4.
Hi, everyone. This is Ken Judge with Joe Moyer, and we're back here on Ken's Corner with Sports Timeout. Joe, well, I don't know. I'm going to let you play reporter this week. Yeah, you got a lot of bad things to say. So how about you play reporter first? I'll do my glass half full routine for you.
Thanks, Ken. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, I'm a little pissed this week after the two, I don't know what you even want to call them, games. The Leafs weren't competitive at all. 5-1 to the Blues and 6-2 to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Shades of last year, play up to their opponents and play down to the crappy teams. I'm trying to talk myself off the ledge. To say that, the first 10, 15 games, there's going to be ups and downs till they figure it out. But man, it was hard to watch a couple of nights ago, that St. Louis game, and watch our star players, our best players, making 11, 12, and $13 million respectively, play what Craig Berube called cute hockey. And he was totally right. Lazy hockey. Marner, Matthews, and Nylander, all three. Tavares, I thought, was the strongest of the four. With Nick Robertson, they were really, and Bobby McMahon were the only three forwards that I noticed that were worth their weight in salt. But man, oh man, yeah, it was frustrating to watch, as I'm sure many Leaf fans can agree.
Oh, 100%. Even with your glass half full, you have to realize that those two games were classed as stinkers. Now, as you know, there's a handful of stinkers that are going to happen to every team during a season. I mean, maybe the Boston Bruins, when they won that 60 games, didn't have too many stinkers that season. But otherwise, every team's going to have these. Now, it's minimizing these games that is the key to being a good team. Sorry, my phone. So Toronto did minimize it in that second game, and that's true. But what I did see after that game that was different from the past was the fact that accountability was taken in that dressing room. When you spoke to Nylander, he said his play was stupid. Matthews, he said, we got to play better. I have to play better. Mitch Marner says it was a really bad game for us. We have to be much better. Now, I don't know if that's from Craig Berube barking at them as he should. And you're right, it was too cute. It's not the hockey that Craig Berube and Brad Treliving want the Maple Leafs to play, Joe.
Well, I think what you have to question is every player is coached on what to say before they're released to the media. They're briefed by their publicist as to go out. Here's the line you're going to use. So, what we have to decide as fans is it sincere, or are they just shooting us a line? Of course, the captain's going to have to go out and say it starts with me. Every captain will say the same thing. Connor McDavid, John Tavares, Sidney Crosby, they will take the blame. That's what captains do. So yeah, great. I think what's so concerning is they're on top of the world, hammering the Tampa Bay Lightning, and basically started the season playing the kind of Craig Berube hockey that we realize is going to make them more successful in the playoffs. Then you have a stinker. You're right, Ken. Absolutely, you have a stinker in Columbus. Okay, I get it. You're probably a little bit tired, a little bit too pleased with yourself. I get it. What the team did last year, though, was when they had a stinker, they came back and followed up with a dominating effort. They were not going to let that happen again. And if you'd asked me yesterday, I would have bet the house that Toronto would come out and hammer St. Louis with a victory. A little concerned when they announced that Joseph Woll was starting. I thought, okay, he's a little rusty. Do you really want to do that? I get their thinking. They want to have their number one goalie, as I predicted, Anthony Stolarz, play the Bruins. But I thought, you know what? After a loss like that, you want to take a chance and put your rusty goalie in who hasn't played this season, that just in case he has an off night. And he was okay. He wasn't great. Two or three, I thought, were a little bit odoriferous.
Oh, to be honest, I thought a few times Joseph Voll came up holding his leg, as we all could see. And
I know.
oh no, we have a Joffrey Lupul situation in the house. And we have a glass goaltender. I mean, he did make some all right saves on a few breakaways and kept him in certain times. But there was 3 goals, and they were directly from turnovers from our star players, as you mentioned, that maybe Joseph Woll whiffed on. So I expect him to be much better moving forward. I'm not hearing that has any sort of residual injury from what was going on yesterday. And yeah, you know what? Boston's not having a party down in Boston right now either. The Bruins are not. They're 3-4 coming in. Marchand
You
on
froze
the
up
bench.
there.
Marchand is using saying that coaches need to be that way, but that's not something Boston or Marchand is used to hearing. So they have their issues. Swayman is not on the top of his game because he had absolutely no training camp as Joseph Woll. So we'll see how this next game go. If we come out with another stinker, well, there's some issues, and there's got to be something done moving forward. I don't know what that is in a short period of time, that small sample size that we have in an 82 regular game season. Are we getting ahead of ourselves? I don't know yet, but it's not looking the best, is it?
Well, what's concerning is the extreme fall. Yeah, you have a stinker, but you bounce back. They didn't bounce back, and in fact, continued many of their habits from the game before. So you're right. Tonight against the Bruins are ripe for the picking, but Toronto when they're in Boston. I mean, this will be the game. I'm going to be glass half full guy for a change. This will be the game that Toronto will come out and defeat the Bruins, and we'll all go, "Oh, everything's okay." Then we'll play another. Then we'll play the San Jose Sharks and Mighty Ducks on a West Coast swing, and we may, get it handed to us. Now that's the glass half empty, but I'm concerning that it's not the bottom 6 that I'm worried about. It's the top 3 or 4. It's like, you can't say Matthews is off to a flying start. He's not. He's not bearing the puck like he used to. Marner's Marner. And Nylander is Nylander. Like nothing has changed from those 3. And Nylander trying to make that move at the blue line a couple of nights ago and giving the puck away. That's the downside of William Nylander. It's not the first time he's done it. In fact, he probably does it about a half a dozen times a year and hears about it. So for him to come out and say, "Yeah, it was stupid," are you just shooting us a line, or
Well,
do you actually believe
that's
it and make
something.
sure it doesn't happen again? Because it will
That's
happen again.
Yeah, well, you know what? In an 82 regular game season, you are in the best league in the world. That kind of thing can happen. I haven't seen accountability at all come out of William Nylander or Mitch Marner in the past. Yes, Austin Matthews is a step above being the captain now, and he does have to say things like that as a captain. But it's the accountability of these 2 other players. And let's not forget, William Nylander's got 11 points this year, 5 goals, 6 assists. So it's not without him getting his goals. And you know what? So early in the year, these are our star players. They're still going to come around. They're still going to play. And I still see them buying into what Craig Berube wants, or you don't know. Maybe something will come down. Maybe there'll be some movement come 30 games in.
Well, it's called damage control, and that's what the Leafs are doing right now, is putting their guys front and center and trying to say the right things to keep the fans from going crazy, although they are. The accountability comes from, okay, if you truly believe it, what are you going to do next game? What are you saying to your teammates in the dressing room? That's the part we don't know. Yeah, you guys go out, say the company line that we're going to tell you to say, right? Be the good troopers. That'll calm everybody down. I get it. We had two games
That's
in a row
every
of that
dressing room.
nonsense.
That's every
It's
dressing
damage
room.
control. It's
But
damage control. They're all trained in it. They're experts at it. Come on out next game and tell me, prove to me that you're not going to play that way again, and then I'll believe you. So that's the proof is in the pudding. And until I see that,
you know what, Joe? There's possibly maybe 3 teams in the NHL that aren't in that position that they have to really worry about their start of the year. Who's that? Winnipeg, Calgary, right? Like, do you expect them to not have their turn in their downturns? And we don't know what they're saying in the dressing room, but I do know that we have a close knit dressing room, and Craig Berube will be on top of that every conversation that's going on in there, and they're going to hear Berube. I'm sure of it.
Oh, you're a trusting soul. I wish I had the rose-colored glasses you do, but I've seen 7 or 8 years of these overpaid stars talking the talk. I want to see them start walking the walk, and I thought that they had started to buy in a little bit early in the season. What worries me is, are they starting to be asked to play a game they just can't play, and are they starting to get pissed off going, I don't know if I don't want to do this. I don't want to sacrifice my body. I don't want to go to the front of the net. That's what worries me. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but you've got to wonder if these peripheral playing stars, and the three of them are peripheral playing stars, are like, you know what, I can't sustain this going to the front of the net and taking the body. And every press conference after the losses, Craig Berube said we weren't physical enough. Is Mitch Marner a physical player? Is that his game? Is that Austin Matthews' game? Is that Nylander's game? No.
I've actually seen Austin Matthews throwing his body around a little bit.
I wish he'd be nastier. I wish he'd have more of a bee in his bonnet out there and take some penalties.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to
Well, the
see.
problem is
Just
they are
business.
taking penalties, and they're not actually producing on the power play as well. These are the areas that they do have to get better. But if we want to go back on just recent history, as soon as last season, the Maple Leafs were one of the better road teams in the NHL. And you know what? Out of the next 5 games on the road, that just might help them with some of that bonding for maybe just the new guys helping to bond and step up and take a bit of a role. I know Steve Lorentz is a very vocal guy, and who knows, maybe they can use him to lean on a little bit coming up here on the road.
Again, we're early in the season, like you said, and I'm trying to temper my expectations. The Leafs now know what it takes to win. They also know how they can't play to lose. Now it's going to be up to them to choose which one they want to play. As far as there's no secret. We've seen them at their best. We've seen them at their worst. So they're going to have to decide which route am I going to take here to try to be successful and try to do it as often as I can. Are there going to be off nights? Yeah. Are you going to get bad bounces? Absolutely. Those 2 games were not just off nights. They weren't bad bounces. They were not give a shit games, and they came out thinking they were better than they were, and reverted to their old ways of wave at people with sticks. And it was everybody. I'm not going to say it was just Marner, Matthews, and Nylander. So this team is going to have to decide: are we going to play the way we know it takes and do it for as many of 82 games as we can, or pick and choose when we're doing it? If we pick and choose when we're doing it,
Yeah,
it's going
and
to be an ugly.
momentum's a hell of a thing, Joe. We could be talking much, much different come 3 games from now, as we
Okay.
were at the start of the year, right?
I mean, so we lose to Boston tonight and we lose to Winnipeg. What do you do? Are we pushing the panic button?
Definitely not this early in the year, but I still don't see us coming out and having that sort of again 3 games in a row against the Boston Bruins with Anthony Stoller in the net. He's been nothing but a gem for us. So unless we can't score 2 goals, I'm sure Anthony Stoller with his 1.83 goals against average is going to keep us in any game that he's in right now.
And keep in mind, aside from Calle Yarncroke and Hakanpää, we're pretty healthy so far. That we haven't experienced any catastrophic injury yet, so that's great. Um, what the Leafs have to make moves, and they have to make them soon. Timothy Liljegren has played 1 game. He looked lousy in it, as far as I was concerned. Don't care if I ever see him back in a Leafs uniform again. He's probably wanting out. Is this the time? And then I think the next 2 games will tell us. I would suspect losing to Boston would not be great. Winnipeg, they're off to a flying start. We'll see how it's their compete level. It's how they lose. If they lose 7-1, not happy. But if they lose a 4-3 overtime, 4-2 bounce here and there, but put up a good, they lost to Montreal and the Rangers against 2 amazing goalies, but arguably, we're the better team. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see where you come in and just mail it out and not check. And so if they lose the next 2 games, you've got some trade chips. And I'm mentioning Nick Robertson. I'm mentioning Timothy Liljegren. There's bodies out there. We got Alex. You got the Marlies, Alex Steves, David Camp. David Camp, what's he done this year? Nothing. A lot of money and a no trade clause there. There's deadwood we can get, and that sends a
I
message to the
think
rest of
I
the
think
guys.
he played well on the fourth line with Reeves and Lawrence. When Lawrence has actually been there, mind you, Steve Lawrence was playing third line in the last game, and let's not forget Craig Binnington did make 41 saves, at least directed 42 shots at him. So I mean, that's not
Oh,
without merit. Saying that, you know what, if Woll could have made a few saves, that game could have been a lot closer than it actually was.
so I didn't see any second chances, didn't see any deflections, didn't see any screens. Everything that Billington
I
saw was
would be
right at his
interested
chest.
if you Austin
I
Matthews
could
we were
stop
talking
those.
earlier. Austin Matthews hit a big defenseman Parenko in the foot. Bennington didn't even see the shot coming.
Yeah,
Any other
that's
than
a
that's a
bounce.
goal.
But I mean,
There's
most
a
of the
couple of bounces
41
that were
shots
in
on nets.
that were deflected through that Bennington got kind of lucky on. But hey, let's give it to Craig Bennington. He is now the third highest win totals in St. Louis Blues history, only to Mike Liut and Jake Allen, who have 151 and 148. He now has 147. So that's a bit of a silver lining for our neighbor right up the street, Mr. Richmond Hill, Stanley Cup champion with Craig Berube, Craig Bennington.
Craig Billington, yeah, and he's got a Stanley Cup, and he will surpass both those goalies this year, probably to become the winningest goalie, obviously, of all time. Mike Liut and Allen never won Stanley Cups. Liut was a great goalie. I remember him in his time. He was a phenomenal goalie, and I believe he's a goaltending coach, and I'm not sure with which team now, but
Yes.
um, we got to start sending a message, and Craig Berube will do that. And I want to see the Leafs come out. I mean, I said this after the Columbus game. I want to see the Leafs come out mad with a bit of piss and vinegar and come out and start knocking people around. And they just came out in front of their home crowd and went through the motions as far as I was concerned. So
Yeah.
anyway, we'll see what happens against the Bruins in Boston tonight. Never a fun
Do
night
we
in
even
Boston.
remember this if we win 14 or 15 games of our next 20? Probably not.
No, and I hope you're right. You are definitely the glass half full guy. And hope I'm wrong, and this isn't, but these little cracks concern me so early in the season, especially when you got a taste of what it takes to win, and then you decide, it's not that they lost, it's how they lost, and it's 2 games in a row losing like that.
Well,
That's like a
I'll be a
clear.
lot more upset if we don't get past Boston. Winnipeg is obviously a scary situation. We don't want to walk into that Winnipeg game where we're losing three straight. That's for sure.
I know,
Because
but why can't we go in and say we're the best team? You're not going to beat us. Why do we have to have this attitude of, well, we probably won't beat Winnipeg. Maybe we like.
well, I'm not
This is
saying
my
we won't beat
frustration.
Winnipeg. I do believe
I
we're a
want to
better
walk in
team.
there and go, you're not taking this spoon
Is
from
how
us.
they're playing at this moment. They're playing obviously at the top of the NHL level right now.
Why aren't we? Why aren't we? We got
Because
better
there's
players,
only three teams
arguably.
that are Calgary, Winnipeg, and the Rangers. Everyone else is saying the same thing.
I can shoot it. I can shoot at goalies' crests as much as the next guy. You want to shoot at the big logo? You could do that all day. I'll make 50, 60 shots. The Leafs have got to find a better way to produce goals instead of just throwing it on net at the crest. That's a waste of time. It builds the goalie's confidence. They've got to come up with deflections. They got to come up with second chances, rebounds. And the pretty boys have got to stop acting like pretty boys and get their balls in there and take the front of the net and take a cross check, take a slash, drop to the ice like you've been shot, go on the power play. And that's what it's going to take in the playoffs. So we've seen a little bit of that, not enough for my liking.
Next week, you play glass half full because we're going to beat Boston tonight.
My blood pressure is going up just thinking about it, but we've been there, done that. Those 2 games to me, no excuse. I'm sorry. They were healthy. They were the better team on paper. They should be the
I
better
believe the
team
coaching
than
staff.
most teams.
There isn't
So
anyone that would disagree with you on that fact, Joe.
it's not
Including
skill, it's
myself.
attitudinal, it's effort, it's willing to compete. And that is why we're in the mess we're in, because our core 3 or 4 haven't had, aside from, I'm going to say Tavares has the willingness to compete. William Nylander competes when he's not going to get hurt, and you can make fancy skating plays and score a nice goal, that's great. But when the going gets tough in the playoffs and time and space is taken away, and you've got to find other ways to score than the shinny goal,
Well,
you got to do it, and they don't have it in them.
this is what I've said on this show in past seasons. Let's just hope we're not playing this way come game 83. So at this moment, we're at game 8. So let's enjoy the rest of the season and continue talking about the team that we love.
Yes, okay, you're right. You'll temper my expectations and my frustration, but I just let's see how they play tonight in Boston and Winnipeg. Let's just hope they hold their own against Winnipeg. But if they lose, we'll be okay. Well, we kind of expected Winnipeg's playing better. Welcome to the life of a Leaf fan, right? We got to stop settling for mediocrity and hope. We've got to come in there with some swagger and go, you're not beating us. You think the Florida Panthers
Uh,
walk into Winnipeg afraid of Winnipeg, thinking, I don't
so
know if we're going to pull this one off?
yeah, here's where I'm going to correct you. It's not uh, temper our expectations. It's the players and that management. They're the only ones that can make a difference. So you're right. They got to get their asses moving into gear. And let's pretend that this is game 83 and it's the Boston Bruins in that first round. We have payback for Boston. And I mean, last year we did really well against Winnipeg. So I think we're going to play just as well there. Now, when is that game? I'm sorry. When is the Winnipeg game? 100
Is
things
it
going
not
on
Monday
in my
night?
life today.
Monday night again, isn't it not?
Is it Monday?
Yes, I believe it is. Let me
Thank you.
double check and see.
So who knows? Maybe Anthony Stoller can go again in that Monday game.
Well, let's hope so, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm just let's double check Monday. Monday, it's Maple Leafs the Jets. At least it's 7:30. It's not too late, so that's good.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking
So
forward to it
it is
this
Monday.
week, and we can come back here next week and we can praise all the things that they did good to change this, and we get a bunch of 2-3 wins. I'll be happy.
Okay. I hope you're right. I just I think changes are coming. They have to come because we're going to be over the cap. Um, I mean, is Calle Yarncroc going to make a difference? No. Is Liljegren going to make a difference? No. Is David Kampf going to make a difference? No. Not in my mind. Is Connor Dewar going to make a difference? He's apparently close to coming back. These are all just fringe players. Like Fraser Minton is skating again.
But
So he's probably 3-4 weeks away. He'll
that's
be
what
down in the
makes up the
Marlies, right?
NHL. Fraser Minton's not coming to the NHL level, though. He'll be
No,
starting with the Marlies.
he'll be going to the Marlies, but that's
This
a
is what
piece
makes
that
up the NHL. There's only a handful of those top players, and you're right; they got to get going to make a difference. But our bottom guys, as you pointed out, they're very valuable to what we're trying to do, and we need them to play well. And I think that most of them have done all right. They haven't played a bad game. They just need those guys, Matthews, to be putting those pucks in the net.
yeah, and you're right. I'm playing glass half empty guy today because we're on the heels of two crappy losses and we're walking into Boston and Winnipeg. So, like a Leaf fan, a win tonight and everything will be all right again and we'll be ready to go. And if for some reason they end up having a great game and beating the Winnipeg Jets, we'll all be on cloud nine next week going, okay, they put that 2 games behind them and they've got it figured out. So I really hope that happens because I don't think my blood pressure can take watching 2 games like that. Listen, it was a perfect night. I had the TV set up. I had my home theater. I had my drink. I had my pizza. I was just by myself in my man cave going, okay, I just want to watch a good game. By the end of the first period, I was like, all right, let's see if maybe Young and the Restless is on or something. I don't know. Like, it's so disheartening as a Leaf fan. You get built up. You're like, I'm so looking
I
forward
felt
to
like
this.
Tampa Bay fans felt last Monday. I get it.
Well,
Anyway, Joe, well, I think we've had enough of our complaining and back and forth here today. It's been lots of fun. I really appreciate your time. By the way, the Stovall Spirit got back on board, winning that last game. Did these guys not always go to double overtime? Like, come on, guys, win some games in regulation for us. Help us out
Yeah,
here in
no kidding.
Stovall as well. I'm glad they won. I do know they're playing tonight and again tomorrow during the Toronto Boston game. Thank you so much, Joe Moyer. And my name
Anytime.
is Judge. I know, Joe, we were programmed to say tomorrow always because we do this usually on the radio, but here on Ken's Corner, we record the day before. But I do appreciate you keeping on to the today thing because this will be released tomorrow on Saturday. So I'm sure everyone's going to have a lot of fun to dissect the things that we've said here today. And thank you so much for reading and commenting to everybody out there that has commented on Facebook. I do read every last comment. I appreciate you all. And Joe, you have a great day. My name's
Thanks,
Ken.
Ken.
Thank you. My name's Ken. We're on Ken's Corner, and I'm here with Joe Moyer on Sports Timeout. Thank you very much.